All right. Hey, everybody. welcome to the Circle of Impact. Um, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kiana, um, mother of 5, um, entrepreneur, author. We started the Circle of Impact as a mental group for young girls,
A mental
and
health
eventually
group.
mental health. Eventually, we'll transition into adding males in, but we transitioned it to also just having conversations about everyday life, everyday issues that you don't usually see attention on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've known Tania all my life,
Yeah,
basically.
I
We
know,
grew up
right?
together. Um,
Look, do you remember
so
when we were
this
younger?
is something that we've always manifested as children,
When we were younger.
and
Yep.
as adults now it's coming full circle.
To
So
fruition.
yeah.
Yes. And so the Circle of Impact was born from those conversations that were too heavy, for us to carry alone. And like she said, I remember when we were like, what, like 7, maybe even younger than that, where we were talking about, like giving back to the community and doing all the things for all the people that we saw. We went to church together. um, just really grew up together, and we did lose contact for a while, but I'm glad that we were able to reconnect and really allow the vision that we have to be put um into action. And I'm Tania, and I am a therapist, a marriage and family therapist, and I'm an author. I am the co-creator of Circle of Impact. Eventually, I do believe we're gonna, make it into a community center and all these things that we have that we want to do. But for right now, we realized that there were so many, mothers and fathers who silently are living and surviving with narcissistic co-parenting and dealing with parental alienation and emotional warfare disguised as parenting. And let's include, the court battles and all the things. And every time we try to speak about those experiences, people whisper, like they don't necessarily like to address it. They like to change the subject, and they tell us, like it's okay, like get over it. They told us to be mature, and they told us like just co-parent. This is not about you, this is about the kids, but you can't co-parent with someone who doesn't want peace. You can't co-parent with someone who just wants power. So, anyway, we created Circle and Impact to give voice to the things that families are surviving with in silence, to break the cycle of emotional warfare that's disguised as love or manipulation, and to teach emotional intelligence where manipulation used to thrive. So, this space was created because we refuse to let pain be the last word. So, welcome to the Circle of Impact. Today, we are holding space for a real conversation. The kind that doesn't get glamorized on social media, but we're talking about the emotional and spiritual impact of co-parenting after narcissistic abuse, during narcissistic abuse, because it doesn't just stop, like it continues. Whether you're in a long-term relationship, whether you're married, whether you get divorced after, where you're being dragged through the courts and after for fighting for your kids. It's hard when you're trying to fight against a person who is actively trying to destroy your character. I mean, the lies, and it's just crazy. But this is about the journey from survival, to truth, to rebuilding the life that actually feels like peace.
And I agree with that because if you think about it, co-parenting if it's not the positive side of co-parenting, no, let me take that. Let's go back. It's more of the negative side of co-parenting that you normally see. You don't see the positive co-parenting. And
Mhm.
I feel like I've been on both sides. I've been on the negative side of co-parenting. I've watched the negative side of co-parenting, and I'm currently in the positive side of co-parenting. And when you positive, like people only bring attention to the negative of co-parenting because they feel like, you know, then it's like, let me make this person look bad so that it
Right.
can cover up my flaws or what I'm doing or what
Mhm.
I'm not doing. So it's
Facts.
so I just feel like with co-parenting, the good and the bad should be shown because it's not going to always be good
Absolutely.
times. It's not, and you're going to have those bad times, but it's a difference between bad times in co-parenting and just negative co-parenting. It's some people out
Mhm.
here that just don't want to co-parent, and
Right.
it's some people out here that uses children in situations to control the other person because
Absolutely.
if you love your child, I'm going to do what I got to do to be in this child's life. And they
Right.
don't understand co co-parenting starts to, in my opinion, the mental health of a child is what they see with their parents. That's how it starts.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you don't understand that you are starting your child if all they see is negative and they know my mother and my father don't get along, I gotta pick between my mother and my father, their mental is
Mhm.
not gonna be right. So how do we expect them to thrive in school? How do we expect them
Right.
to thrive in life when
Right.
they're going through all these mental issues of trying to figure out why mom and dad's not getting along?
It's the
Or
case of loyalties. Absolutely.
yeah, and then
And that's
that's
the
when
thing, like, some narcissistic parents don't co-parent, they counter-parent. They want power. It's about games. It's about smear campaigns. It's about all of the messy, degrading comments that can be made. It's about them spinning narratives, and it's just emotional terrorism, pretty much. They try to make it seem like that it's a concern, but really it's not. It's just immense disrespect, and the kids do see it. They notice it. But I can definitely speak to, like, all the different sides because I was in a unhealthy co-parenting well, I'm still in an unhealthy co-parenting relationship, but I have a beautiful, you know, very positive and very healthy co-parenting relationship with my wife. We have 6 kids. Yes, 6. She got 5, I got 6. And, being able to see how the other parent, disciplines and how the other parent, is able to handle those conflicts is very important. Because when you are parenting, that is literally an acknowledgement that you're raising children. Like, we literally have control over how a child is being raised. And so when you are co-parenting with someone who is on the same page as you guys will have, similar feelings about discipline, and you'll be forming a united front in front of your kids. And that's what it's about, right? Because like you said, when the kid can see like, "Oh wow, okay, this is my stepmother and this is my father, or this is my stepmother and this is my mother, or whatever," right? And they're on one accord, they can't split. Right? And splitting is when they go to one parent, "Well, can I do this? Mom said I could do it. If you say I could do it, okay, go ahead." Like, going back and forth between each parent, asking them for things, or even, playing them against each other. They can't do that if they notice that it is a solid ground, a really tight front between the co-parent and the parent.
yeah, and then you got um situations. Well, I can speak from co-parenting. Well, I wouldn't say now I have any negative co-parenting when it comes to my kids because I choose my peace over everything. But I've had times, my oldest son's father is incarcerated and he's been incarcerated pretty much all my son's life. So it was me trying to create a norm of learning how to co-parent with someone that was incarcerated, and you know, understanding that my son's always going to think that he's the fun parent because he's not the present parent, and he's
Mhm.
the parent that, oh, when my dad calls, let me tell my dad I want this, and my dad's going to do this, and he's going to get that. So, and then it was me, you tell me no, or you fuss at me, you
Mhm.
hold me accountable. But I think I have, watching my current boyfriend,
Mhm.
which is the father of my youngest two kids, watching him try to co-parent with his oldest son's mom has been a journey, and it
Mm.
has taught me a lot because I can say that I honestly see the negative, the violent side of co-parenting.
Mm.
Because if you j- just giving some backstory,
Mhm.
she kept him away for so long, where me and my current boyfriend, we've been together for 8 years. And
Mhm.
I watched him this whole 8 years fight for his son. And I've never seen him give up on his son. I've never seen him, you know, she basically gave him the easy way out, and he never
Mm.
took it. And to me,
Mhm.
that shows strength. Like, I'm going to fight for my
Absolutely.
child regardless. I've
Right.
watched, I've never known what parental alienation was. Once I learned what parental alienation was, let me tell you how I took accountability, because some of the symptoms of parental alienation I saw myself do with my oldest son and his father,
Mm.
but it was never intentional. It was me
Mhm.
thinking in my mind, like, I'm trying to protect my son,
Right.
but in reality, I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, when I really started to understand what parental alienation was because of what she was doing,
Mhm.
oh, that fixed me real quick. I stepped away
Mm.
from their relationship. I
Mhm.
Look, you call your son whenever you want. I don't even have to know. Because I
Mhm.
used to have to be the type that had to be right there with every conversation and all of
Yeah.
that. I said, "Oh no, I don't want to be that person." And I
Right.
let my son gain his own relationship with his father. And that was like the best
Mhm.
thing that I could have done.
Yeah,
And that
absolutely.
took so much
Because the
stress
kid
off of
will
me.
resent you for not allowing them to have that space to create a bond with that parent.
Yeah, and it's like all about taking accountability. I took that accountability. I said I do not want to be known as someone who took part in parental alienation. But with
Mhm.
her, it was bad. Like, it was bad. Like,
Mm.
I watched my boyfriend. He had the bare minimum that you can get in the state of Maryland. He had
Mm.
every other weekend and 1 day a week every other week.
Mm.
He was paying child support every month. He never missed child support payments. And she had everything. She had full physical, full legal,
Mm.
and she still violated the court order multiple times. To just recently, the judge saw this and said, "No, like, you violated this court order 3 times." And let
Mm.
me tell you, when you fight and you gather your evidence and
That's
you
right.
show, like, now he has sole legal custody. So he went from
Mhm.
having nothing to
Mhm.
everything, because you know that legal
Mm.
custody triumphs everything.
Everything.
That's
Yep.
the legal custodian. So,
Mhm.
and it's just like when he finally got his son back, the amount of stuff that we found out
Mm. Yeah. I
blew
remember we was talking
my
about it.
mind.
Mhm.
And it's like I just sit and I think, like, the universe, it has a way of all playing out, because even though me and Tania grew up together, it was one point we were in, you couldn't separate us. Like, I remember
Yes,
when
we were
we had to have
inseparable.
time limits on the phone, because that's how much we talked and always was with each other, to
Mhm.
not talking for years.
Yeah, we did not talk at all.
Now we came back and it's like, she's a therapist, she's a life coach. So most of the stuff that I'm going through is like, I'll bring it up to her and she's giving me like a full understanding, because it's like I just be like, God put me in my bonus son's life for a reason.
Mhm.
And I told my boyfriend, like, I am determined to help him
Mhm.
because the amount of stuff that he's gone through, the trauma that he's faced, no child should not have
Should
to
have
face
to.
that. And it's so sad because the other parents still don't realize the mental
What they doing.
impact that they're
Mhm.
holding with their child, this 12-year-old. And it's like,
Mhm.
if she just was to get it together, acknowledge the things she done, he would be so forgiving, and
Mhm.
that would help him start his healing. And it's just
Mm.
like to watch one person because you hate the father of your child so much
Mm.
that you will, and it was so bad that I will never forget. The judge said to her at the ruling, she said, I want you to love your son more than you hate his father.
Mm, mm, mm. That's so powerful. That is so
And this
powerful because
judge don't know
nothing
him
about him.
them at all, but just from 2 days from having a trial, she knew that you hate his father more than you love
More
your
than
son. That
mm,
is
mm,
some
mm.
that's girl, that's
That's
a hard pill to
powerful.
swallow.
It is.
Watching her put me in a position where I'm like, I need to do it. I need to tighten up as a mother. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not, I gotta choose my peace because I can't be saying out like I'm this bitter baby mother or girl. I
Yeah.
mean tell you,
Yeah. Yeah.
she fixed me. She got me together real quick.
Mm. But you know what people don't understand about co-parenting is there's a difference between a parent who is not present because they don't care, right? And then a parent who's not present because somebody is blocking their access. Like those are not the same stories, right? Because a present parent shows up, they call, they try, they schedule, they text, they show up to games, they fight, and they fight to stay connected. And I think that's what Adam did. You know, he was fighting. And the thing is, parental alienation turns that parent into a villain, even though they're still fighting to be there. So it's like the non present parent is the one who chooses absence. Like that parent is the one that's not trying to do anything. And I think I remember you, correct me if I'm wrong, you had said something like he showed up to the house and she just wouldn't answer the door and lied to him and basically told him, oh, that's nobody. So parental alienation, it creates this fake narrative, right? Where the child believes the parent who is trying the hardest is the one that abandoned them. Like, think about that. Like, that is psychological manipulation. That is emotional theft. Like, and it doesn't just harm the present, right? But it harms the child's identity. It harms their sense of belonging and their internal map of love or what it should look like, right? Because presence isn't about proximity, it's about effort. So even when he was trying and he was going and he wanted to see him and he was calling and she was blocking the calls, she was blocking his access. That's not protecting the child. That's protecting her ego.
And I agree because if it's just like if I just sometimes I just sit and I look at the situation and I've always, all this research that I've done on parental alienation, the mental effect that it can have on a child. And it's always you always see cases where a child that was a victim of parental alienation, sometimes it's hard to get them back with the alienated parent. But
Absolutely.
I remember when we were preparing for the first visit in almost 2 years, because
Mm.
this last time she kept him away for 2 years. And, um, first off, let me say just in case, she sees this or something, everything that I'm saying is fact-based, um, not opinion-based. This is
Mhm.
proven-based.
This is
So,
experience.
I will
And we
not say
aren't dropping
names.
any names.
I'm
So
not gonna say names, but I am gonna tell truth and
that's all we can
experience.
do. That's all we
So
can
that's
do.
that's our
Same.
disclaimer. But
Yes.
um I remember when we got the first visit we were preparing, and mind you, at this time our youngest son was 5 months, and
Mm,
my bonus son has never met his brother. And I was so nervous because I'm like, I don't know how he's gonna act. Like, it's
mhm,
like I'm trying to be, this mental stability for my boyfriend, but I'm
mhm.
also, trying to,
Anxious.
like I'm anxious and I'm like, I wanna know, like, and I only could imagine how my boyfriend was feeling because he
Absolutely.
haven't seen his son in almost 2 years. And
Yeah.
so we saw him and it was like they were never separated.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
It took that icebreaker. My boyfriend said when he got in the car, he looked at me, I looked at him, and we just bust out laughing. And it was like
Mm,
that first visit, he was like, because the way that the judge did it like gradual, like he would get him one Saturday for a couple hours, and then it was like it would gradually go to week on, week off.
mm,
So the first day he was like, "Why can't I stay? I don't want to go home. I want to stay." And, we explained to him, like, this is not forever. This is just like a gradual
mhm,
entry. By second
mhm.
visit, let me tell you, second visit, he wanted to stay and watch the Super Bowl with his father, as any
Oh.
young boy would want to do. He texted
Mhm,
his mom and he asked her, "Can I stay and watch the Super Bowl?" She
mm,
replied, "Don't text me from this phone." And mind you, this is a phone that his dad bought for him. 'Cause he
mm.
didn't have a phone. She had took his
Mhm,
phone.
mm.
So he started crying, and
Oh, man.
that was the breaking point, because after that, he just was like, "Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have asked her that, because now I gotta go home and
Mm,
deal with her." And then
mhm.
he started just telling us things that was happening, just, and you can tell
Just
it was
pouring
just
it
like a
out.
relief for him.
Mhm,
And she tried to make it seem like because from that day on, my boyfriend, he didn't return him, he kept him.
mhm.
He's been
As he
with us
should
since
have.
February, and
He
she
felt
tried
that
to make it seem like
emotional
we didn't
security with you
yeah,
guys.
and she tried to make it seem like we didn't return him because she said no to him staying for the Super Bowl. No, baby. That was just
Mhm,
the tip of the iceberg because he was afraid to go home because he
mm,
knew that because he asked you, could he stay? He was gonna get in trouble. This
mm,
always been a pattern. Like her thing used to be is a court order for a reason. Stick to the court order. She never gave him
mm,
extra time. And it's just it's so heartbreaking. I remember when my boyfriend mom passed away. The day after the funeral, mind you, we had to set the funeral for a weekend that we knew that he would have his son because
mm.
she wasn't gonna let him come.
Him
So
come, yeah.
that Monday, he was supposed to drop him off at school. The funeral was on a Saturday. He texted her and told her, like, he's not feeling it. He's still upset. And, he's seen his grandmother in a casket. And
Mm.
her reply was, "Oh, I thought, so you mean to tell me you kept him home for that? I thought he was sick or something."
Wow, are you serious?
And he was never able to properly grieve his grandmother. One,
Mhm,
I believe because he already felt bad because he said, this is what he said out his mouth. He said, "If my mother wouldn't have never made me lie and say all that stuff, I would have had more time with my
mm,
grandmother." Because it was
mm.
like one weekend he was there. He didn't come that next weekend, but that next
Mm.
weekend that he was due to come, she was gone.
See,
So it
and
was
that's the
like the last
thing,
time I
like
was here.
the child doesn't just lose, like, a parent, right? They don't just lose time with the other part of the family, but they lose half of themselves. Like, that was such a powerful realization for him to say, like, "I lost time with my grandma." Like, that is it's so heartbreaking, right? And it's not even their fault. So here he is with all these emotions, the confusion, the internalized guilt, the loyalty conflicts, right? The fear of disappointing the hostile parent, right? And his identity is just so fragmented because he doesn't even know what to do. So he's learning how to manage his moods based off of her moods, and that's
He
conditioning.
don't even know who he is. At the age of
It breaks
12,
identity, absolutely.
y he's supposed to be starting to become himself, and once he hit puberty, his personality is pretty much going to be that personality that he has as an adult.
Mhm.
But he doesn't even know who he is because he has said to me several times, he has said, Kiana, it's hard for me to talk because I
Mm.
was never able to talk
His
for
voice was
myself.
taken. His
I
voice
was
was
never
taken
able
very
to
young.
think for myself. So
Mm.
it's just like, and I had to tell my boyfriend, I'm like, it's like, even though it's sad that you had to get the broken part of your son, but it's your job
To
to
heal him.
rebuild him. And like I
Mhm.
always assure my bonus son, I'm telling him like, look, if it's nobody in this world you think got your back, me and your dad, we on this roller coaster ride with you. We gonna have ups, we gonna
Mhm.
have downs, but we on this
Mhm.
ride for the long haul. And we're gonna make sure that you have all the tools that you need to get over, everything you're going through. Like right now, he's carrying guilt. He feels
Mm.
guilty for being disloyal. He feel like he's disloyal to his mother because he told
Mhm.
what was going on. But
Mhm.
again, he told me, and and I'll tell him all the time, like you are a very mature 12-year-old. You're an immature child, but you are a very mature 12-year-old.
Yeah. I
And I
mean, but
tell him,
let's just pause though. Sorry to interrupt you, right? But let's just think
"Mhm,
about you said it was 2 years. It was 2 years that Adam and you had not seen your child. Like, I can only imagine, like, what that would be like, right? There was all these thoughts, probably negative thoughts. Y'all probably were having cognitive distortions, thinking about, like, "Well, why are we even trying this? It's no point." The anxiety, because that's 2 years y'all didn't have any birthdays with him. That's 2 years y'all didn't have any school pictures. That's 2 years of memories stolen, and then boom, suddenly, here they are. It's like you can't expect a child to just be happy, like because it's a bittersweet feeling because it's like it's beautiful that you guys are reuniting, right? But then it's also like, are they gonna be scared of me? Are they going to love me? Are they going to, like there's gonna be like so many seeds of doubt and confusion and mistrust. And I just like of course you have unlimited joy that you're with them, right? But you're heartbroken that they don't even recognize the safety that you guys bring. Like
yeah."
the fact that you are strangers and y'all are supposed to be a family.
And I
Like
just
that.
remember when he first came, he used to be like, I used to he used to do stuff, and I picked up on it. Like he used to do stuff to get some kind of discipline. And one day I asked
Mm.
him, I said, "Why do you? It seemed like you'll be having a good day and you'll do something just to get in trouble." And
Mhm.
he'll say, "Because I'm not used to this type of discipline. This is not
Mhm.
normal to me. So I have
Mhm.
to do something to get in trouble because I'm so used to getting in trouble." And then that
Mhm.
brings me to he had an
Mm.
incident in school where he said he did something and he didn't realize that he did it. And
Mhm.
and I asked him, well, he smacked a little boy. So
Mhm.
I asked him, I said, in that moment, what were you feeling? He
Mm.
said, to be honest, Kiana, he said, when I used to live with my mother, she used to hit me when she was mad. And it
Mm.
seemed to make
Mm.
her feel better. And he
Mm.
said, I was mad in that moment. So I just hit, he was like, I didn't even realize I hit him until after I did it, but it
Mm.
made me feel better. And then the next day he came to me, he was like, Kiana, couldn't wait to call you because he called me every day after school at 3:30. He said,
Mhm.
I couldn't wait to call you and tell you what I did. I said, what did you do? He said, I I went to my friend and I apologized. I told him my bad. I didn't mean to do it. And I said, "Oh my goodness, you took accountability." And I said,
Mhm.
"That's what we've been working on. Like this is what I'm trying to get you to get.
Mm.
Like you have to take
Mhm.
accountability." And
Mhm.
me, I'm a gentle parent. I gentle parent. Now my boyfriend, he's more of the traditional parent where he
But that's
believe in
good. It's a
punishment.
balance. It's a
Yeah,
balance.
so it's like I have to, I told him like, yes, he does things that cause for punishments,
Mhm.
but you have to understand his mental state. Like we can't that goes back to in the beginning when I said we can't expect our kids to thrive in school and their mental is not right. And
Absolutely.
so I said, "We're gonna have these issues with him." I said, "W every day, it may be call after call." I
Mhm.
said, "But we know why.
Right.
He is struggling
It's a
mentally."
deeper meaning.
And
Mhm.
I had and it's like, I told him, like, you know, I I'm not a therapist by far, but it's like, I feel like I have to
Help
help
him.
fix him. Like, I have to
Mhm.
help him because I have to let him see that this is not you. This is not the
Mhm.
life that was meant for you.
Mhm.
And one thing about me, I love my kids. Like, I love on my kids. And I don't know if
Mhm.
it's because growing up, I didn't get that emotional piece,
Yes.
but
That's for
I
both
didn't
of
have a
us.
bad mother. I didn't have a bad mother. My mother made
Yeah,
sure I had everything I needed and I wanted. But
materially.
emotion wise, I didn't get that. So
Mhm.
I love on my kids.
Mhm.
I will spoil my kids with love.
I was kinda the opposite, like, cause I had, like, a really similar experience, right, where it was like I had the materials, but, like, emotionally, I didn't really get that safety and that security, and so when my oldest and it's so funny because, y'all, we stopped talking for years, but our kids are literally around the same age, which is wild, right? We both got a 14-year-old.
And a
And
four-year-old.
yes, and a 4-year-old, it's crazy. And one of her kids got the same birthday as me, that's my birthday twin. But anyway, so my 14-year-old was the one that taught me attachment. When I first had her, I know we didn't really talk a lot then, but she was all, like, hugging on me and kissing on my cheek, and I'm just looking at her like, "Girl, like, what is you doing? Like, why you touching on me?" And you remember my grandmom, she was not really affectionate either.
Mhm.
So, this girl was over here like, "Hey, mommy," trying to give me all this love, and I'm just looking at her like, "What's wrong with you? Like, why are you touching me?" And I had to really learn how to, like, accept that because it was so uncomfortable. I did not want to be touched. And so now I have learned how to give that type of love and affection to my kids and even my wife. But in the beginning, I did not want to be touched at all. It made me uncomfortable. And I had to learn how to become comfortable with that. It just was like weird. Like, it was just like, "Why are you touching me? Like, I don't want you touching me." And just kinda, like, understanding that that's how she showed me love. I was like,
Mhm.
"Wow. Okay, so I have to learn how to accept this because this is the way that she shows love." And then I swear all my kids are so touchy-feely, lovey-dovey, affectionate, and I just be looking at them sometimes like, "Alright, y'all. That's enough." Like
That be my internal thoughts. I'd be like, "Oh my gosh,
like
like,
anxiety.
ah, I love you." And it's like,
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, please move."
It's
But
overwhelming, right?
it does. And it's like, but I could not imagine not showing them that. Like, I could be struggling on the inside, like,
But you can't
just
show them that
I
you
don't
feel
show
that.
them that. And
Mhm.
it's just like, I look at my bonus son and I'm like, I can only imagine how he feels. And it's just like yesterday, I had a conversation with him. No, it was 2 days ago, I had a conversation with him. And mind you, I've been trying to give him different type of tools to deal with his different emotions. So I created him he loves basketball. So I
Mhm.
created him this playbook based off of basketball where it
Okay.
shows him like me and your dad, we are your team. And
Mhm.
in the back of that playbook, I gave him code words. I said, because it's hard for you to talk, but when you're having
Absolutely.
those feelings, use a code word. Text
You
me.
could
Let
actually
me
use
know.
emojis too.
So mind you, I thought I'm like, "Okay, he's not listening. He's still not using his code words," you know? And then the other day, I just so happened to check my phone. 15 minutes prior, he sent me a message and he said out his mouth, he said, "Kiana, I'm struggling. I'm breaking down.
Mm.
It feels like I'm about to cry." And I'm
Mm.
like, "Oh my gosh, we're getting somewhere because you
Mhm.
you skipped your code words and you were very vocal in your
About how he
feelings in that
felt.
moment."
Because
And I
he knows
called
that
him.
he feels safe with you. that he knows that it's not gonna be any type of consequences, right, with him using those words. He knows that if he tells you that, there's going to be an action, that there's gonna be some type of support, right? Maybe he was trying to do that before with his mother, and there was nothing that came from it. So he was like, "Well, what's the point of me even telling how I feel if it's not gonna be nothing that comes from it?"
And let me tell you, I'm not the type of bonus mom that talks bad to him about his mom. Girl, even though his mom tries her best to turn him against me, his mom
Mhm,
attacks my kids.
mhm.
As a mother, I would never be able to do that. But
Right.
I always and always will encourage you to build and work on this relationship with your mother. Because I don't feel intimidated by your mom. I don't,
Mhm,
because I
mhm.
know my place in your life
That's
and
right.
I know what relationship we build. So
Mhm.
I've never been a type to try to overstep my boundaries. That's her biggest thing. Oh, you overstep your boundaries. As a mother, I would never give another female the what word am I looking for?
Power.
I would never give her the power to feel like she's overstepping her boundaries when it comes to being a mother, because I'm solid when in that
Mhm.
department.
Because 'Cause you're
Now,
secure.
y- and with her, it's like she knows. She knows. Like I tell him all the time, everybody got a conscience. And when she lays down
Mhm,
at night, she
mhm.
that conscience, it bothers her.
Of
So
course.
I it's not that I overstep my boundaries, but there's a need. You left that need open as a mother,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna do everything that I can, because to me, suicide in young kids is at an all-time
Absolutely.
high.
Mhm.
And
Just
just
from
like I
them not
tell him,
feeling heard.
It starts as a seed, and like a
That's
tree,
right.
it will grow.
Yep, yep.
You may the thoughts may come in your mind, but you have to understand that if you continue to do it and not put in the work to try to fix it, it's gonna grow, it's gonna grow, it's gonna grow, and
Well,
before you know it,
let me stop you there. It's not necessarily fixing it, but it's what we call in cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT, right? Challenging those negative thoughts. Because like you said, if they stay in there, right, they stay either stagnant, they're going to continue to grow, or they're going to increase. So you have to challenge those negative thoughts and you have to use evidence whenever there is a negative thought. Like if there's a thought like, "Oh, I'm not good enough." Okay, let's challenge that. Why are you not good enough? What evidence do you have that you're not good enough? Because I have evidence that you are good enough because you did X, Y, and Z and you said X, Y, and Z, right? And so what that does is that takes that negative thought and it challenges the fact that that thought is true. And that's why that is a really amazing way, right, to work with the kid who's having those negative thoughts or those cognitive distortions, because that's what they're called. And you can really, um, I'm pretty sure you do your research, so you probably gonna look up cognitive distortions, right? There's like 15 of them. And when you learn what cognitive distortions are, everybody has them. And it's just really, really good practice just to know what they are, right? Because you will really understand a lot more of how those cognitive distortions impact all your kids. And when you are able to learn what they are, you're able to help them cope with them. Look at him in the background.
get you ready for lunch. But it's just, you know, I just I swear that watching that, girl, it got me together real quick. And I'm not even a bad co-parent, because I'm the type, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. If you're not gonna do, you're not gonna do. But
That's right. And we
reality
gotta pick up
is,
the
I
pieces.
still have to do.
That's right. You know, a lot of co-parents, they got it easy because they don't have to do anything. But guess what? Day in and day out, somebody gotta be the parent. Somebody gotta get them kids to school. Somebody gotta make sure them kids wash their butts. Somebody gotta make sure they brush their teeth, get taken to the dentist, go to the doctors. Like, it's a lot that's involved with being a mother. And even I could talk about my own cognitive distortions, right? When I was going through my divorce and child custody battle, I felt like I wasn't enough because I was in school and I was just starting out as like a RBT, a registered behavior technician. So I was working with autistic clients and I was like, well, I'm not doing enough because this person that I had kids with had a whole career. And I'm not going to say what it is, but had a whole career. And I had these cognitive distortions, these false stories that my brain created because they were trying to protect me, right? It wasn't intentional lies, but it was survival beliefs that I was believing from my trauma. I was having postpartum, right? And it was like, if, you know, I must be the problem. There's no way that I could do this by myself. And my wife, who at the time was my best friend, right? She was telling me, like, you can do this. Like, you're a great parent and da da da. And I'm just over here beating myself up, like, yo, I cannot do this. I can't do this. And I was just telling myself that over and over again, like, I'm not strong enough. I don't deserve these kids. Anybody that was close to me at that time would tell you, like, yo, she was thinking about giving up those kids. Absolutely, I was, but that wasn't me. That was my postpartum. My postpartum was disguised, right, as making me believe I really couldn't do it. And let me tell you, definitely was taken advantage of. My kid's father took complete advantage of the fact that I didn't believe like I was enough. If anything, it was fed. Yeah, you can't do this. You're not good enough. I'm the better parent. I need to be the one raising these kids. So 5 years later, I got all of my kids and my babies, my bonus babies too. So it's like
Girl,
it's trauma responses, right? Disguised as personality. And a lot of them were formed in childhood and a lot of them happen even more when you're going through trauma. So when that postpartum was kicking in, my brain was trying to make sense of what was happening. It was these unhealed memories, right, that were still being narrated from the past tense. And I was like, I'm just not I can't do this. But that's why it's important to have a support system
mhm.
because you gotta have somebody who can see from the outside looking in and be like, listen, Kiana, get it together. I know that you're going through this right now, but that doesn't mean that you're not a great parent. I see you day in and day out taking care of them babies. And that's what I had because my wife was telling me before she's my wife, she's my friend. She was like, listen, I got your back. What you need? I can help you with this. I can help you with that. During COVID, she was the one that was helping me make sure that these kids was on their computers and in school while I was going to work.
Girl, 'cause
It
postpartum,
takes a village.
like I told you earlier, you people say the best way to get out of like a depression or something is to try to fight it. And girl, I tried to fight postpartum.
Mhm.
That that girl fought back.
She won for a little bit.
And it's like sometimes like and you can attest to this, like we can be talking all day. As soon as some kids get off the bus, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get them settled, get them in bed because my kids is in bed by 7. And I'm like, I'm gonna get them settled. We're gonna get back on. Girl, no, them
She
kids
be out.
tired. And it's like they in school all day. They come home. Those short hours, it's like it's like I got so much to do. I got homework and then I got my 4-year-old. So it's just like by
I
7,
you
I'm
ain't gotta tell me,
falling
I already
asleep on
know.
them. And I'm like, I try to be one of those parents being productive where they get their kids settled and then they get work done. And mm-mm. And I
But
had to give
but
myself
but you know
grace.
what? But you know what? You gotta give yourself grace, right? Because you do still do a lot. Like, we got a lot of kids. The average is like 2 or 3. We got 5 and 6.
All with different needs. I'm a mom of 2
Exactly.
autistic kids. I'm a
Mhm.
autism mom.
Mm.
So my 9-year-old is high functioning and my
Mhm.
4-year-old is nonverbal. So it's
Mm.
like
But you know what,
everybody
though?
knows.
Just the fact that, like, it's so crazy how sometimes God, the universe will put people into our lives that can help us because I was a RBT. I literally worked with autistic clients. Like, I worked with so many nonverbal kids, I worked with high functioning kids, I worked with, nonverbal adults. So, I can always help you with those types of things, and that's why I said it takes a village, right? Because that support is so important. So, and, like, even going back to, like, trying to fight through the postpartum, like, your body changes. Like, people don't realize how much our body changes when we go through pregnancy. Our sleep changes, our role changes, our sense of control changes, the nervous system changes, right? And so when somebody is already carrying trauma from the pregnancy or from an interpersonal relationship, right, which is a relationship with somebody else, postpartum does not come into an empty space. It's literally arriving into a nervous system that was already overloaded. So what a lot of moms do without even realizing it, we fight it. But it can be so draining, right? We tell ourselves like, "Oh, I need to be stronger. I shouldn't feel this. I should be grateful. I shouldn't cry. I shouldn't need help. I should be able to do this by myself." But see, those thoughts are cognitive distortions developed for survival. But what people need to know is postpartum is not weakness. It's a
Not at all.
door. It's a door where your old self and your new self align and they bump into each other.
You
And
can learn
trying
a
to
lot
fight
from postpartum.
you can, right? Because trying to fight postpartum is not about the baby. It's you're fighting not to lose yourself. You're trying to hold on to a version of you that actually doesn't exist anymore. Because motherhood rewires you whether you want it to or not.
It does. 'Cause I
And that's
ask
why
God
when
all the
people's
time,
fighting
like, "Show me who I was," like, "Show me who I was before being a mom." Like, being a
mhm,
mom, no matter how much you try to change it,
mhm,
it gives you a new identity.
it does. Because you
Because
can't
look,
be the same
Tia, just
person.
think back before we had kids, how we used to go to the club on Saturdays and then Sundays sitting in church on
Go
the
to
choir
church.
having a thing. Like, that was the life. We was at the club every Saturday. Your mother
Where we used
fussing
to
because she
go?
coming to get us 5 o'clock in the morning, and we in church at 11. Now, I
No, it
couldn't
was not
think
even
of doing that.
11. We was in church at, like,
Oh, I'm sorry,
9.
Sunday school,
Yes,
9 o'clock.
Sunday school.
So it's like I couldn't imagine doing that now. Like, like, being a
Nope.
mother, like, I be like,
It
I
changes
want
you.
to have a social life. I be trying, and I'm like, "Alright, Imma go out. Imma, just have some time for myself." Girl, you wanna know my me time, my self-care is my kids sleep or they on their iPads and I lock myself in the bathroom or something. Like, that's my
Mhm.
self-care. My self-care is not go no matter how much I be like, "Imma go out." Girl, I be sleep by 7.
Listen, because I have been trying to plan with you our Thanksgiving shindig, and I'm just like, "Listen, at this point, like, I don't know what she doing."
Girl, I it's like being a mother gives you a
It
whole
does.
different identity.
You are
And,
literally
you know,
caring for little kids, like, little humans who will eventually grow up and hopefully be great people in society.
especially if you one of the woke people, if you one of the people who is like me, like, I don't want my child to grow up like I even though I didn't grow up bad, but I
Mhm.
don't want them to grow up like I grew up.
Oh,
I
yeah,
want them
absolutely.
I want them to grow up different. So you going to act different. You going to do things different. And it's just
Yep.
like that's a whole nother responsibility because now I feel like I'm responsible for how you are going to be as an adult. So I
Mhm.
have to be on my P's and Q's.
That's right.
And that comes with a whole nother level of stress because it's like not
And
only is
anxiety.
I have a new identity as being a mother, now I have to try to be this perfect mother so that you grow up and be better than what I was.
Well, not no, you don't have to be perfect, right? But from
But
our learned
better, like
experiences,
meaning
better.
growing up, you know how we felt like we didn't get that emotional peace. So that
Mhm.
kind of changed us. That trying to
Mhm.
change our identity because we didn't know how to show emotion. So
Mhm.
now I want my kids to grow up and be better than me in a sense where I want them to be able to automatically give out that emotion, not having to
Right.
learn it as an adult. Like
Well,
me,
remember
I
when
still
we were
haven't learned
in
it.
well, when we was in our meeting with my co-host of No Labels Just Vibes, we were talking about the fact that the mother is supposed to traumatize you, right? And so if we think about that, if we never were traumatized, we would not be the way we are now, right? Like I
We
knew
didn't
I
have a
wanted to be a
reason to
therapist
fight.
at 7. I knew because I was raising and parenting everybody in my life at 7, right? And so the way you think shifts, the way you love shifts, the way you protect shifts, everything shifts, when you become a mother because you realize you have to give parts of yourself up in order to do what's right for them. Like you said, we used to like going out to the club on every Saturday, right? Staying in the club. We after the club, we used to go out to eat. We'd be out from freaking what 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes we only got like an hour of sleep before we got to start getting ready for Sunday school. But motherhood changes what really matters to you, right? Like what triggers you, what inspires you. And then we also have our own trauma from how we were raised and the things that we did not get. So it's like it's the mirror that shows us our unhealed parts. I'm gonna be transparent right here and say my wife does not like loud noises. You know me, right? And you know I got a big mouth. So when I'm not happy, everybody knows I'm not happy because I will be yelling. That is something that I am working on because I don't want my kids to be feeling like they always got to yell. Well, one of them does do that. And so I have to heal that part of myself, right? Where I'm not yelling all the time, but where I actually take time to talk to my kids. And that is hard because you are literally looking at those unhealed parts of you and it's motivation that makes you want to heal them because you're like, you know what? I don't want my kid to go through this. I
Yeah.
don't want my kid to experience this. I don't want them going on carrying this. And so you are healing for the child who will learn love by watching how you love you.
Yeah. Cause
So
even my
it's
boyfriend, he gotta get on me sometimes. Like he'll be like, Kiana, like you you just don't show no emotion. Like he'll buy me a gift, and I am happy. Like like I might not show it, but my heart be happy. He be like, you just looking at it, like what you don't like it,
I used to be
and
like
I
that
be like,
though.
what am I supposed to do? Like I don't know. Like I was like, okay, next time he give me something, I'm going smile a little bit harder or something. Like I don't know. Like I just don't know. This is not my fault. But internally, I'm happy, but I don't
But see,
know. I
the
just
thing is, internally, he can't see internally. He's not a mind reader. So you have to learn how to use your words and be like, thank you so much for thinking of me. Like, it really means a lot that you took the time to pick this out for me.
yeah,
I
I've been
appreciate it.
practicing the mirror or something because
You
I
should.
got
You
to because it's
should.
like
We
I
gonna work
don't
on it.
show emotion, and it's like I don't show emotion for nothing. Like I got there when I tell you, like I was telling you earlier, my new attitude after getting out of post and then think about it, people probably wouldn't have never known I was going through postpartum. Like I was smiling. I
Mhm.
was still
Mhm.
that bright,
Mhm.
bubbly Kiana. But girl, getting out of postpartum, oh, nobody is gonna mess with my peace. Nobody.
Mhm. Yeah, you become
Like,
protective of it, but
like I
it's
worked
not
hard
that
to
you
be this
don't.
person.
Exactly, but it's not that you don't feel things, it's that you feel really deeply and you just learned that you have to keep your feelings tucked away because expressing them wasn't safe. And so you're still learning how to show them, and that's vulnerability without
Yeah.
losing strength.
And then
So
it's just
I know
like
you're working on being more expressive, but that's all you can do is work on it because that was how I was. Like I remember somebody was telling me like, "So do you like it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love it." They'd be like, "Well, you ain't acting like it." And I'd be like, "Well, what you want me to say? Like, you want me to jump up and down and scream? Like,
And then when you make comments like that, people think you're being smart. It's like,
'Cause
I'm
you
not being
are.
smart. I'm
'Cause
asking you,
'cause
what
you are.
how can I show you that I appreciate it? But then that takes you to it. I feel like as an adult, it's like we still have a lot of stuff to learn. Like
Absolutely.
even let's just go off topic a little bit and let's just move it to what grief plays
Mm.
a big part in who you are, in your identity. Like, even though
Mhm.
I said before, like, being a mother, it changes your identity, but when you lose people who was close to you, that
Mm.
also alters your identity, because
Absolutely.
me personally speaking, I've lost people that was close to me. I've lost people that, I was so used to seeing and didn't see. Like, even going to Reverend Price, like, I
Mm.
lost him. Like, I'm so used to seeing him all the time. And
Yeah.
him and my mother had a close relationship. So
Well,
it was just
let's
like,
slow it down for the people because they like, "Who was Robert Price?" So, we told y'all we went to the same church. My grandfather was the pastor of that church. He was Reverend Price. And, we actually saw him after a sermon sit down in his chair. He preached, he gave his sermon, he sat down, and as you could tell the way that I'm talking, it still bothers me to this day, but we saw him literally take his last breath in front of us, in front of the whole church. And, our like, the adults never really addressed it. And that kinda ties into why it was hard for us to show emotion, right? Because we never were taught emotional safety. That situation wasn't addressed.
and
So
I
it
think
was like, okay,
that was my first experience with death.
mine too. And it was like, what do I do? I'm standing on the choir, so we singing, and I'm like, yeah, da, da," and I'm looking at Kiana in the crowd, and she looking like, what's going on? And I'm looking at her like, so I'm trying to figure out why her face is looking like that. But then I look at what she's looking at, and then I saw my grandfather. And I'm like, "Holy crap." So then I tapped my grandma. I'm like, "Grandma, what's going on?" Because grandma was on the choir with me. And so then my grandmother runs over there and like I can only imagine how traumatic that was for her. She saw her husband literally take his last breath. Like it was just it came out of the blue. Like just what in the world? Like how d- like I don't even know how to like
And it
formulate the
was like that
words.
conversation was never had or explained. We just know we went to church Sunday and his seat was draped. And then
Yes.
we went to church. Then we go outside the church. They have the little black thing on the outside of the church. And it's like we didn't even really know what that means.
Mhm.
And then we learned that means that the pastor of the church passed away. But it's just like when I say like that was my first experience like with death. And I just remember him being at Zion Hill, and then he went to Pleasant Grove, and that's where he had the funeral. And then it's just like, that was never explained to us. And then as we get older, we experience death. And like I experienced a couple of deaths of close family members. But then it's just like I think when I lost my best friend, and I didn't when I lost my best friend, I was to the point where I was determined not to grieve.
Mhm.
So
You suppressed it. You wanted
what
to be
that looked
numb.
like to me was because I felt like I was 8, almost 9 months pregnant when she was murdered.
Mm,
And I didn't attend her viewing or her funeral because I got hospitalized. Mind you, I
mm,
never got hospitalized in a pregnancy. I got hospitalized
mm.
for heartburn. And I feel like when that happened, that was like the key, that was just like my sign to not grieve. So I see, like, now I see as I'm more woke now and I'm more in tune to
More aware.
feelings and
Mhm.
the universe and all of that. It's like I see now that my grief showed that it showed through. I will, I will put like do what I can for her kids, but seeing them and being around them
It's
is
triggering.
so hard.
Mhm.
And I know, like, their fathers probably be like, "What type of best friend is her?" But it's not intentional.
Mhm.
It's just that when I look at them, I just
It's
feel
triggering.
so bad. Like, I get to be here with my kids, and she
Mhm.
was taken away from hers. So it's just
Survivor's
like,
guilt.
and this is like, I'm like, but I can't grieve her. Like, I can't.
Mhm.
I had my moments where I would cry, would be sad, but it is so hard to grieve her. And mind you, when I started growing my locks, I started growing my locks because she had locks. And I promised myself,
Mm.
I said I would never cut my locks. But
Mm.
me coming into this new person that I am, meaning really putting myself first. And cause I had the traditional locks. When I cut my
Mhm.
locks, I felt so much better. Like, when they say hair holds trauma,
It does.
guilt,
It holds
hurt,
energy. Mhm.
and even though I said my best friend had locks, I will never cut my locks. Like, I'm gonna grow my locks for her, but
Mhm.
when I cut my locks, I was actually able to start.
Let go.
It was like instant. I just started to accept the facts. My prayer throughout, she's been gone for 9 years. My
Mm.
prayer used to always be, I will never understand. God, just give me peace. Like, just
Mhm.
give me peace. Like, I don't want to
Mhm.
understand. I don't want to understand why this happened to her. Just give me peace where I can just go on and function.
Mhm.
And it's like I got that as soon as I cut my hair.
Mm.
And
Sometimes the hardest part about grief is not losing a person, but losing a version of yourself. Because, like, even when we talk about my grandfather, like, that was our girl. We done did some things together. Do you remember when we had that fight and my grandfather came in and stepped in the middle of us, like,
But it don't matter how much we used to beef when y'all, we used to beef a lot. It don't
all
matter
the
how much
time.
we used to beef. We could be beefing on a Sunday and he'd be like, "Wednesday, I'm taking y'all out to sing."
Right. And y'all, it's so crazy watching, like, this new Kiana that has emerged because when we was younger, listen, child would not get on the mic, did not want to say a word, okay? Like, this new Kiana, I'm like, "Who is this?" Because, you know, now
But I'm
I can
still
definitely
shy.
see the transformation. I mean, yeah, but you're still doing the things, all the things, like, cause she's doing a million amazing things, and, you know, that's not who I used to know. So it's really awesome, like, getting to know, who you are now. And but people think grief is only about death, and it's not, because there's also a death that happens inside identity too, right? You grieve the version of you who tolerated things you no longer allow. You grieve the version of you who didn't know any better. You grieve the version of you who was broken and confused. And there's grief in healing, but there's also grief in growth. And there's grief in that transformation of becoming someone new. So you have to let go of the old version of yourself. And
And you
that
wanna know what's crazy? Something that I grieved. I grieved. I'm not even gonna say grieve, but growing up, my father was not around. So that was like something that I've known. So when I look back and I see the type of men that I allow in my space, I'm not even gonna say relationship, but I allow in my space, it all falls under me feeling comfortable because they were like my father. So
mm,
it's true when they say you will date men that's like your father. So if you have
oh,
a great
listen,
father, you're gonna date a great man. Let me tell you,
that's so true, girl. So
my
true.
boyfriend
Cause
now, I known for a really long time, but because he wasn't a comfort zone for me, because he wasn't nothing like what I was used to,
used to.
with things like
Mhm.
he wasn't nothing like my father. Let me say that. And I will only want to deal with people who were put me in mind of my father because that made me feel comfortable. My father wasn't around, my father was inconsistent, so that's what I was used to, inconsistency.
Mhm. Mhm.
It took me at least 2 to 3 years to even start a friendship, a consistent
Mm.
friendship with my boyfriend, and
Mhm.
now he is so much different than anybody that I've ever dealt with that he
Mhm.
challenges me,
Mhm.
and it's
Mhm.
like, I'm not comfortable, like, and and I'm not saying it in a bad way, but when I say I'm
Mhm.
not comfortable, meaning it's not that comfort zone, so I gotta show up and I have to show up,
So you can be
and
better,
with
but that's what you need, a person that's going to literally force you to be better because when I say I completely agree, like, my ex was just like my father. Like, just like. And, my wife is different than anybody I've ever dated. I had so many, look, girlfriends and exes that were upset that I told them that while I was with my wife, I'm the happiest I've ever been because I am. Like, this is definitely the healthiest relationship I have ever marriage. Let me say marriage because if she watching, look. But this is definitely the healthiest marriage that I've ever been in, and, she always will get on me, like, "You said you was gonna do this," or, "You need to do this better," and I appreciate it because she's pushing me to be better, and if you're not with somebody who's pushing you to be better, you're in the wrong space.
I agree, because it's
So,
like, girl, when
we
I
done got
say
all the way off topic, though.
but when I say, because I'm over here looking at the notes like, okay, we just off topic, so let me stop.
Yeah.
But when I say being with somebody who pushes you to be the better version of you,
Mhm. It's
girl,
amazing. Because that's you can be your best, right, when they push you to be your best, and then you push them to be their best, and then that's when y'all become unstoppable together. And so, going back, circling where we were at, you know, you can't control the other parent, but you can control the home that you build, right? And sometimes the healing is not the relationship. Sometimes the healing is learning how to parent in spite of the relationship. And the victory isn't in winning the court case, right? Even though it's a big part of it, right? Because you get access to your kids, but it's raising emotionally safe kids. It's breaking the cycle of trauma. It's refusing to recreate the energy that once broke you.
and
And
that right there is so true because with winning a court case, you almost certain, I want to say 80% of the time, you're gonna get some version of an emotional damaged child because
mhm,
for a court to, especially when a court just switched custody, something had to stick out or happen
mhm,
that causes that. So you're
mhm,
not going to get that child that you left or that child that you hope to get back. You're going to get a broken
a
version
different
probably
version.
of your child. And this
Mhm,
day and age is like you see violence in kids younger and younger.
mhm,
And that just brings me to when we decided to start the mentorship in girl with girls, and it's just like, yes, boys need it, but you have to be really, really careful when you are mentoring boys. You need to make sure that you have those mentally stable and available males
mhm.
because
Who are healthy themselves. Mhm.
energy is everything.
Absolutely.
Energy is
Absolutely.
everything.
And that's
So it's
why
just like,
the circle of impact just came together. Like, we did we had stopped talking for years, and then my podcast, she saw my podcast, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is cool, da 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 da." We set up a meeting, and next thing you know, she was like, "You know what? I had a good time talking to you." I was like, "I did too." And then next thing you know, we started talking, and boom, here's the circle of impact, right? Where we are teaching basically about rebuilding hearts, restructuring identity, and repairing what manipulation has always tried to break. And We are here to heal the child inside us so we can protect the children in the world. And by, all the programs that we have, she spoke about the mentorship program and all these things that we have that we working on. That's why the circle of impact exists, because it's our hope and our desire that we're able to touch so many children's lives, especially the ones who don't have anybody that they can talk to or anybody that they can turn to. That's why we're here.
And that's a lot, and that's a lot of the population of young people, because it's not that they don't really have the people to talk to, they just don't have the tools and know how to do it. Like, they just so used to dealing with their self, and that just brings me back to my bonus son. Like, he said to me before, he was like, I can just deal with this on my own. And for a
Mhm.
12-year-old to feel like they can carry this weight on their own, it
As
speaks
big as it
volumes
is.
of relationships and people that he trusts. That speaks volumes, and let you know that he does not trust.
Mhm.
Because
But
why
why
at
would
the age
he?
of 12 do you wanna carry that weight alone? And you
Why
have
would
me
he?
constantly telling you, "I'm here, I'm here, I'm here." So that shows you can beat it in a person, beat it in a it has to
Mhm.
be when they're ready.
That's right. That's what I always say. They have to be ready to make the change. If they're not, it's gonna go in one ear and out the other. But thank you guys for being here with us in this conversation, and thank you for listening with courage instead of comfort, and recognizing that healing takes honesty and breaking cycles. There has to be intention. And here at the Circle of Impact, we are not just talking about change, we are becoming the change. So until next time, remember this: protect your peace, parent from your healed self, and let your legacy be the proof that the cycle ends with you. This is the Circle of Impact, and we will see you in the next episode. And check out our YouTube page, The Circle of Impact. We are working on our social media, so we're gonna be getting TikTok and Instagram. And am I missing anything?
No.
And we got a school account coming for y'all as well. So stay tuned, and we will see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.